and shit.
I'll have to watch it. I may watch that tonight at work.
Pretty funny.
All right, so let's move into our own personal thoughts and theories behind this. All right, Dan. So, what is your theory? What do you think happened?
So I think it was an inside job by the creators of Max Headroom. Why I think this is that, like, the whole purpose of Max Headroom was to be like a 5-second clip with like multiple little clips throughout, I guess, in their, was it Maximum Headroom or whatever music station?
Yeah.
I think they went too far with it. They made a movie, then of course they had a series, and I don't think it caught on as much as they thought it would. And I figured they decided to use this as a way to try to get more publicity to Max Headroom. Yeah, they couldn't really use Max himself because then it'd be boom. It was them that did it. So they decided to use a masked one to do this. And pretty much, think about it, Max Headroom was a broadcaster. He said in the video, I'm better than Chuck Swirsky. He's a sports broadcaster. They're just like, hey, listen to me instead. Watch my show over listening to the news or listening to the Chicago sports broadcaster. Trying to get more publicity towards him.
Which ended up backfiring because it canceled
Exactly
the television show and it canceled the sponsorship with Coca-Cola. So yeah, they lost out big time if that truly was their goal, was to get more publicity.
Yeah, so they're playing, like you said, it backfired on them. Worst case scenario, it backfired like that.
Okay.
I want to say on the last broadcast of Max Headroom, I forgot like the phrase or whatever he said. They took jabs at people, and they were like, "Oh, we got the last laugh." It's like they knew that they were going out, and they decided to take jabs at people. So it's like they were being a little vindictive there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's an interesting theory on it. You want to know what mine is?
Yeah. What you got?
I think it was the CIA. I think that the CIA was testing to see how vulnerable the broadcast transmissions are in the United States. So they kind of went covert on it, kind of went underground, okay? Didn't tell anybody what they were doing. And then they said, holy shit, we can really do this. And every now and then they'll try to do like a broadcast intrusion.
Pretty much like to test like Google and them, they'll hire hackers to try to hack into their systems just to see what they have to fix and all that shit. Is that what you're trying to say?
Exactly. So the majority of Americans, or majority of the public, watches television and they get their news from television still. I mean, if you had a foreign country that was your enemy get access and override your broadcast signals and they broadcast their own stuff, man, that could be really bad.
Bad propaganda.
Yeah. So that's what I personally think.
I could see that actually.
But overall, this entire thing is weird.
It really is. And the fact that it just like after those incidents, like with the Max Headroom, it just died out.
You talking about the broadcasting incidences?
Like how it just died out after nothing else with Max Headroom.
Yeah, that's true. And at the time that this occurred, Max Headroom was pretty damn popular. And you're right. As soon as this occurred, it's just kind of like, boop. You don't ever see him that much.
Yeah.
The only time you hear about him is when people talk about this incident.
Yeah, and I mean, he was featured in the movies Pixels a couple years ago. Like they have Max Headroom in it.
Yeah, but nobody knew who the hell he was. They all thought he was Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, but he did do an interview on David Letterman show. That was interesting to watch. Yeah, it didn't really have too much information in it, just being weird.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to add to today's episode? Any more personal thoughts or anything?
If anybody knows anybody that was around when that occurred, we wouldn't mind hearing what they had to think about it.
Yeah, if you're actually the person who did this Max Headroom intrusion, this broadcast interruption, reach out to us at Aaron or Dan at theoriesofthethirdkind.com. You can come forward and you can tell your story. And hey, guess what? The statute of limitations is done. So even if you do come out, you won't get prosecuted by anyone.
Exactly.
So there you go. You can come out and tell your story, and we'll give you a platform to do it.
Boom.
To our five listeners, me, Dan, and our two moms and our single dad.
Boom.
I'm just kidding. All right. So I guess that's the end of the episode. We're going to move on to our On the Scene this week. If you're not familiar with what our On the Scene is, it is where listeners go out in public and interview anyone, any random individual, about current conspiracy happenings around the world. Anyone can do it, including you. Yes, the listener, you can do it as well. Just go outside, get your phone, do the interview, record it on your phone, make sure it's less than 2 minutes, and send it to our emails, and we will put you in line to be played. And we do have a queue, so once you send yours in, it will be added to the bottom of the list, and it'll eventually make its way up. All right, so this week's On the Scene is from Carolyn, and we will play that right now.
Hey, Carolyn on the Scene here. What are your thoughts on Astroworld?
Well, I gotta say, I don't really give it too much energy. But I've seen a lot of things on TikTok about it, some very interesting clips. But for me, I think it's a lot of just people living for themselves and not thinking of others, a lot of just selfishness. I know that there was a very interesting clip of a spirit going into maybe Travis Scott, or, could have been something falling in a shadow. I'm not sure. It was a little suspect. And I do have a strong feeling of celebrities selling their souls to, the evils. But I think overall it was just a showing of how much we've stopped caring about each other, because it doesn't take much to pick someone up off the ground, and this world is just becoming very selfish. So I think it should be a reminder to remember that the person next to you is also human, and to treat them that way.
Thank you so much for your valued opinion. Your voice, it sounds really, really familiar. Have I heard it somewhere before?
I do hear that a lot. I can't really figure out where or who they're comparing me to, but I appreciate your time. It's been fun. Thank you for asking me about Astroworld. Let me be a part of the trend. But you have yourself a wonderful day, and remember, you're not alone.
She does sound very familiar.
Oh, yeah. Almost like Anna.
Yeah.
That was her. That's her.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
It's always great getting on the scene and then, hearing it and it being people you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Shout out to Anna and Carolyn.
Shout out.
Check them out. I think you can find Anna still in Wisdom in Wonderland, maybe, is her?
I believe so.
Let me check. Wisdom in Wonderland. Yeah, you just go to wisdominwonderland.com and you can see Anna, or Annie. Her name's Annie.
Annie.
Sorry, my bad.
Get 'em, Annie.
And you can go get a reading from her and see all of her projects and stuff and all that, and see what she's up to, and go talk to her on TikTok, follow her on Instagram and all that good stuff. Go say hi, But thank you for the On the Scene this week.
Yeah. Miss you.
Miss you. Love you. All right. So what do we got next? All right. So let's move on to shout outs. All right. So I'm going to start off the shout outs this week on Instagram. You know who just messaged me back on Instagram?
Who?
The person I tried getting a hold of about the Astroworld thing.
No.
Yes, the one who went. Okay, so for all of you who don't know what I'm talking about, on Patreon we did the Astroworld episode, and in it I found some very interesting footage of like the Houston City Commission, and this woman goes up to them and starts like drilling them with questions, very specific, odd questions. I ended up finding that woman because I wanted to interview her for the show, and she didn't message me back. Well, she just messaged me back and said that it was her, that, yep, that's me. Damn it. I don't know. Maybe we can interview her later.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to shout out Darren. I want to shout out McKenna. I want to shout out The Thrifty Snack. I want to shout out Timothy, Miguel, Bianca, Tanya, Madame Amanita, Adam, Bryn, Brandy, Sierra. Let's see, who else? Dakota, J.D. Wisnowski. Pretty sure I pronounced your name wrong, but shout out to you. Heather Boosboom